Hello everyone. Sorry here. Thank you so much for joining me for a continuation of a Love from Lizi's card kit. This is the one that's called A Spot of Autumn. I'm going to be creating some thank you cards and just because cards, following a couple sketches, and then just using the different pattern papers to make them look completely different. So we'll start with the first card sketch, and I have this really beautiful bright pink pattern paper. This is actually the cutaways. There's a whole sheet of it that's split into two, and I cut out this particular one, and I'm going to match it up with one of these washi tapes to use it as a border background, and it's going to be used as a transition from the pink to that light blue. I think this blue and grid one is fantastic. I think it's going to do the job quite nicely. So I will show three cards after I create this one using the exact same technique but just using different colors and different cutaways. And it's very simple. I'm okay that the overlap, it actually makes some nice interest. It makes it nice and darker in the corners, and it's not anything that is too noticeable. It actually looks quite nice like that. But we're going to cover most of it. There are two types of cutaways. These are the ones that are measured 3 by 4 inches. So that makes the matte layer that I'm gluing it on right now 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. So that gives us a nice 1/8 inch border around our image. I'm going to bring in some foam tape. This will elevate the panel when we put it on that blue floral pattern paper. This will also allow us to have some nice shadows to create some depth and dimension. I find that this always helps when you are working with a bunch of different pattern papers. You just want that separation. You can use different mats, but I do find that even when you're using mats, adding a little bit of elevation always makes it just a smidge better. But you don't need to. If you don't have foam tape, you definitely can use pattern paper, or white cardstock or any scraps you have on hand. Just layer them up, glue them together, and then we'll add some dimension. I am just using my ruler to give me that nice 8 border, and nice and easy. We'll just glue that right to our card base, and now we are ready to add our sentiment. The sentiment is the thank you. This die comes in this card kit. I've cut it 3 times in white cardstock and glued them together. This creates a nice thick, almost like chipboard sentiment that it feels good to hold in your hands, but it also looks like it just looks polished. Like it just looks like it's a nice piece to add to a card. And I chose white because it looks striking on that bright pink floral pattern paper. When I use these card kits, I'm always picking my favorite pattern papers because I know a lot of times these get put away because there's so much to play with. So I like to make sure I use my favorites. And there's 2 that I really love. The pink one here, and then there's this nice yellow color that if you saw the unboxing, you would have seen. Okay, so that is the first card. This is the design. So we'll take a nice close look up. And then I'll show you the other 3 that I created using different pattern papers, different washis, and they just look all a little different. I think these are just fantastic. I love the last one, that yellow with the blue, so pretty. And then of course with the little leaves on it, it's just adorable. I just love it. Now we're moving on to sketch number 2, and I'm going to be using this, it's a cheetah print, I believe, I believe cheetah. And it comes in 2 pieces. There's a stamp set, and then there's the stencil. So I am using a very light color for the stamp, and I'm going to do this 3 times. I will cut it out of the video, so you don't need to see me do it 3 times, but I will do it 3 times with this particular ink. And then I will bring out the stencil, and it will line up perfectly over those spots. I believe a couple of those spots will show up in the center. That is fine, but for the majority of those spots should get covered. And then I'm going to bring in a darker green. So for my other 3 sketches, I use different colors, and I use a paste for one of them. But it's just to show that I use a light color for the stamp and then using this dark. And I'm going heavy. I went really dark, and I'm using this rustic wilderness green. So how I chose these colors is I looked at the pattern paper that I liked, and then I chose inks that kind of matched it. And there we go. This did stamp and stencil crooked. That's why I used a big piece of paper, because I'm going to trim it out. So I'm going to use my guillotine cutter to kind of line it up crooked so that when I cut it, it becomes perfectly straight. And I'm just lining it up, not worrying about anything except this one ruler that I'm following. And that also happens to give me this nice 1/8 inch border. I think I'm obsessed with the 1/8 inch. I just love it. And there we go. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've cut a piece of pattern paper that matched. As I'm ripping it right now, that measures 5 1/4 by 1 3/4. And then I'm just ripping it slightly on the edge. The small piece of pattern paper is measured 3/4 of an inch by, what is it? 3 3/4. I think that's right. Essentially, when we place everything down, it should be all perfect. So it actually might be 4 inches across, actually, if I think about it now. So 4 inches by 3/4. I'm using my ruler here to just make sure that I keep my 1/8 of an inch border, because I'm not gluing anything. I'm gluing it separately, so I'm just trying to make sure that everything lines up. And there we go. So yes, that's 4 inches across. I'm sorry if I said it wrong the first time. And when I chose this extra pattern paper, I purposely chose a contrasting color. I didn't want it to match. You can. There's so many styles and colors in this card kit. It's actually quite amazing. So you can mix and match, and you can either go coordinating or bold and bright, muted. Really, this is why I decided to go with this style of video, is because I want to show you that you can create a mass amounts of cards, but in different colors. So that's the first one. And here we go. I'll show you 3 more, same styles, but totally different colors. And there we go. I think that turns out fantastic, but I just love how this worked out. For the last card, I only created the one because there aren't that many stickers that allow me to do this. But I just wanted to show you that you can create a whole panel of this cheetah background by just stenciling it on the top, and then you just move your stencil down, because the way that this stencil works is that the top and the bottom line up and the sides line up. So you could have kept on going. But I decided just to make a chunky slim line. I think it's like a mini chunky slim line. I don't know. It just seems like the proportions are a little off, but I really thought it was cute. And what I'm going to do is bring in one of my absolute favorites. This is the cutaways, but this is the square version with the flowers and that absolute beautiful yellow. I needed to use it. I just love it. And I'm going to bring in a bunch of stickers from this card kit that match this color scheme, as well as bringing in that foil orange. If you watch the unboxing, I showed the stickers and they all have this really beautiful orange foil. Not very often you see that. It's either gold or silver, but it's a beautiful orange and I loved it. So I decided to dedicate one last card playing with the stickers. And I will say that the one cheetah item that's in the sticker pack does get lost on this card, but I'm going to try to bring in some other elements to make it stand out, but it really doesn't matter because this is a just because card, bringing in some fun little elements to make a collage. I am adding a little bit of glue to these stickers just because I feel more confident that they won't fall off. I don't know if these stickers won't fall off. I feel they're really good quality, but for my peace of mind, I like to glue everything down. So this is not to say that these stickers won't stick. It's a personal preference. So you don't need to do this if you don't want to. I am going to start building up along the side. That's how my collaging works, kind of making a nice cluster that follows along the lines. And just bringing in these little elements, Don't worry, use as many sentiments as you want because this is a just because card. This is just to bring in some fun. If you can coordinate, like I have making memories and beautiful, they kind of go together nicely. And then you have the camera and then the fashion sweater. So it does kind of make a little bit of sense, but it doesn't have to. It's just for fun. And I just love how this card turned out. And there you go. I didn't make any more like this. I wanted to, but I didn't find enough of one color to make another. Maybe I just need to try a little harder. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to finish this card off, this collage, with some of these puffy stickers. These leaves are absolutely adorable. I hope you enjoyed these cards. I hope this has created some inspiration. This is what I love about Love From Lizi's, is that the kits are so different that you can create so many styles with the same kit. So until the next time, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you all later. Take care. Bye.